On the night of February 24th, 1978, a group of 5 close friends from Yuba City, California, piled into a turquoise and white Mercury Montego. Their destination was a college basketball game, an exciting outing for a group of men who cherished sports, simple routines, and each other's company. Their names were Gary Mathias, Jack Hoot, William Sterling, Jack Madruga, and Ted Weiher. Friends and family knew them as quiet, friendly men, often described as boys, despite being in their 20s and early 30s. They had varying intellectual disabilities, but lived full, happy lives, many of them with their families. Nothing about this night felt out of the ordinary. It was just a regular guy's night out. The game was a thrilling win for their favored team. Afterward, they stopped at a local market for snacks and sodas. The clerk who served them later remembered them being cheerful and in good spirits. They got back into the car, presumably to start the 1-hour drive home to Yuba City. But they never made it. Their families reported them missing the next day, kicking off a mystery that has haunted Northern California for decades. What happened to the Yuba County 5? 3 days later, a park ranger discovered their car, but where it was found only deepened the confusion. It was parked on a remote, winding mountain road in the Plumas National Forest, high up in the Sierra Nevada mountains. This was miles off their route, in a direction that made absolutely no sense. The car wasn't crashed or damaged. It had a quarter tank of gas left, more than enough to turn around. The doors were unlocked, and a window was rolled down. Inside, wrappers from the snacks they'd bought were scattered about, remnants of their last moments of normalcy. But the car keys were gone. Even stranger, the car was stuck in a snowdrift, but witnesses said 5 healthy men could have easily pushed it free. Why did they abandon a perfectly functional car in the middle of a snowy, isolated wilderness, miles from civilization in the dead of winter? And where did they go? The discovery of the car sparked a massive search, but heavy snowstorms soon buried the mountains under several feet of snow, making any progress impossible. For months the families waited in agony, with no news and no clues. The case went cold, buried under the winter's grip. It wasn't until June, when the snow finally began to melt, that the forest started to give up its horrifying secrets. 4 months after they vanished, a group of motorcyclists discovered a Forest Service trailer, a type of mobile cabin used by park workers nearly 20 miles from where the car had been abandoned. The trailer's window was broken. When authorities looked inside, they made a grim discovery. On a bed wrapped neatly in 8 sheets, as if someone had tucked him in, lay the emaciated body of Ted Weiher. The scene inside the trailer was a paradox that baffled investigators. Ted had starved to death, losing nearly half his body weight. Yet the trailer was stocked with enough sea rations and dehydrated food to feed all 5 men for over a year. There were matches, books, and even a propane tank connected to a heating system that was never turned on. Why would a man freeze and starve to death when food and heat were right there, within arm's reach? The coroner's report added another layer of mystery. Ted had lived for weeks in that trailer, slowly wasting away. His shoes were missing, and his feet were severely frostbitten. Curiously, his wallet was found in his pocket, but Gary Mathias's sneakers were in the corner of the trailer, and Ted's more comfortable leather shoes were nowhere to be found. It seemed someone else had been with him. Someone had taken care of him, wrapping him in sheets. But who? And why did they leave him there to die? Just a few days after the discovery of Ted's body, the search intensified in the area around the trailer. About 11 miles from the car, searchers found the remains of Jack Madruga and William Sterling. Their bodies were scattered on opposite sides of the road, likely dragged apart by scavenging animals. They had succumbed to hypothermia. They were found with their car keys and wallets still in their pockets. A short distance away, Jack Hoot's father, who had joined the search, made the heart-wrenching discovery of his own son's backbone under a manzanita bush. Nearby were his jeans, his shoes, and his jacket. It appeared he, too, had died of exposure to the elements. This meant that 4 of the 5 men had died in the wilderness. But what about the 5th, Gary Mathias? Gary had a history of schizophrenia, but he was on medication and had been stable for years. His family insisted he wouldn't have led his friends into danger. Yet his shoes were in the trailer with Ted, suggesting he was there. Some theories suggest that Gary, perhaps experiencing a psychotic episode, convinced the others to follow him into the woods. But this doesn't explain why they abandoned the car or why they walked nearly 20 miles uphill through deep snow, wearing only light jackets and street shoes. It was a journey even seasoned survivalists would find nearly impossible. Why didn't they start a fire in the trailer? Why did they only open a handful of the dozens of food cans available and then seemingly not eat the contents? The cans were opened with a P38 can opener, an army tool that Mathias and Madruga would have known how to use from their military service. But they left the food untouched. The mystery of their behavior in that trailer remains one of the most perplexing parts of the case. Did they fear making noise? Were they hiding from someone? One of the most enduring theories involves a witness who came forward shortly after the men disappeared. A man named Joseph Shans said he got his car stuck in the snow on the same road that night. While trying to free it, he experienced a mild heart attack. He claimed that as he lay in his car in pain, he saw headlights approaching from behind him. He saw a group of men and a woman holding a baby get out of a vehicle. He called for help, but they fell silent and turned off their headlights. Later he saw flashlight beams. He said he stayed in his car until he felt well enough to walk back down the mountain to a lodge for help. When he passed the spot where he'd been stuck, his car was gone. Police later found the Montego parked where Sean said his car had been. Could the 5 men have encountered this other group? Did this mysterious group with the woman and baby have something to do with what happened? Investigators were skeptical of Sean's story and couldn't verify it. So what happened? Did the men get lost and, in a state of panic and confusion, make a series of fatal mistakes? Did Gary Mathias have a mental health crisis that led them on a bizarre, tragic journey? Or did they encounter someone on that dark, lonely road, someone who forced them out of their car and into the freezing wilderness? We know that 4 of the men perished in the cold, but the fate of Gary Mathias is a complete blank. No trace of him has ever been found. No bones, no clothing, no sign that he was ever there, besides his sneakers left behind in that lonely trailer. Could he somehow survive and start a new life? Or did he meet his end somewhere in the vast, unforgiving wilderness of the Sierra Nevada, his body never to be recovered? After more than 40 years, the case of the Yuba County 5 remains officially unsolved. It's a tragic story of 5 friends on a night out that spiraled into a nightmarish ordeal. The questions linger unanswered, echoing through the silent forests where they took their last steps. Why did they leave the car? Why did they walk into the mountains? And what really happened to Gary Mathias? This is one of those cases where the more you learn, the less you feel you understand. leaving us with a haunting and unforgettable mystery. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into unsolved mysteries. See you next time